Welcome to the Bold Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for supporting our channel. Those who've been sharing our videos, I want to say asanteni sana. We do this each and every day because of you, and we continue to evolve from one level to the other. In this video, I will briefly explain to you why Wafula Chebukati has declined to go on the terminal leave, despite the fact that the leave days had accumulated. And the three of them, Fletcher Bukati, Abdi Gulie, and Boyamulu, the two commissioners with the chairman, who are supposed to exit to come to the end of their tenure on January 18th, have declined to take their leave days. So what normally happens is when you work in government, you normally have leave days that are given depending on maybe a yearly, on what the number of days you can take in a year or so. But when it reaches that time that you are going to leave, before you leave, if you don't use them, then they will be paid. They'll be compensated. So there'll be a compensation to that effect. And sources have revealed that Wafula Chebukati and the other commissioners, and of course this is touching on a number of stuff, did not take or are not willing to take those leave days. So, be it this week, President William Ruto, gave the Gazette notice of impending vacancy in the office of the two commissioners and the chairman of the IEBC. According to the law, and the process of recruiting, or rather replacing them, seems to have kicked off. It's normally a long process. It takes time, but it seems Ruto is pushing to complete it. The other four commissioners, the Cherera camp, Masit, Andari, and all that, their fate now lies on a petition that is already in the floor of the National Assembly, and it was, I think it is in the Senate. It was filed by Farmers Party, which is an affiliate party of Kenya Kwanza. Now, after calls by Opiyo Wandayi and other opposition leaders for Chebukati camp to exit the stage, he has come out to respond through this tweet. And now that is what has caused the storm. He responded today, did this tweet and said, "I wish to welcome the decision to gazette impending vacancies for the positions of IEBC chairperson and two commissioners, which will officially be vacant from 18th January 2023. This will ensure smooth transition and retention of institutional memory, which has previously not been the case." That's where the big thing is. The chairman is saying that in the previous dispensation at the helm of at the IBC, there has never been smooth transition, and so in the middle, institution memory is not really taken care of. This message of institutional memory is put there strategically, and it is in order, but the commission is in a deep mess that it requires an overhaul. And I've seen in the Twitter message people asking that what is so good that is supposed to be emulated by the next office bearers? Okay, institution memory is simply transition when someone is leaving and someone leaves in a good note with the staff and the rest, you live in good memory, and you show when transition is done in a smooth way where someone hands over power to the next person smiling. That's the institutional memory. What Chebukati is simply posting here, first, he's just trying to please William Ruto, just massage his ego by saying that the decision to gazette them, first, it is not Ruto's personal decision. That's what also needs to be clear. It's actually a constitutional requirement for the president to initiate that process. What president decides is when, but it's not a matter of president making a decision. It is in the constitution for him to initiate the process of recruiting a new the commissioners. So the chairman of IEBC, Wafula Chebukati, is giving Ruto credit for initiating that process. But secondly, he seems to respond to his critics by saying that he wants to hand over the office, the files, the data, and everything. And why is it? Another interpretation of that aspect of institutional memory is that he wants to say that he is going to leave the office a clean bill, nothing to hide, and he wants to hand over clearly. This is what should always be happening. But one thing also, Chebukati is just throwing shades to Raila Odinga. Let me take you back to, and better to understand this is, if you look at the transitions at IEBC, they've never been smooth for one reason or the other. After 2007, we had Kivuitu. I think when Kivuitu passed on, Kivuitu left before he even passed on. Then we had Isaac Hassan, who took charge of the 2013 general election. Then after the chicken gate scandal and all allegations of political bias, which are the same allegations that have been leveled against Wafula Chebukati after the just concluded general election. In 2016, a year before the election, the civil society and the opposition wing by then NASA launched a Firimbi operation and kicked out, the commissioners were forced to be kicked out of the office. And even though they had to resign voluntarily and get their packs, so they left, and another process of recruiting another chairman or another commission started. And to that effect, that's when Chebukati was again, that's how Chebukati was brought into office in January 2017, before the elections that were then conducted that year. So what he is actually talking about, that office lacking institutional memory, is not because William Ruto is doing things differently. It's actually because of the nature of what has been happening in that office. And what he is now trying to do is trying to sanitize that office, or sanitizing himself from what Kenyans think did not go on right. And I have seen Pio and I asking, what is the urgent thing that Chebukati and the team are waiting there to do? This is the truth. This reason by Chebukati of hanging there for make sure that there is smooth transition is not the real thing. And in fact, for me, that's hot air, if you allow me to use that. The real issue here is this commission, their next biggest task they have is to conduct the looming by-elections that have been triggered by the cabinet appointments. So Chebukati is hanging and the camp is hanging in the office to help the president manage these by-elections. And I don't mean rigging. Don't get me wrong. I will explain how that aspect of managing those by-elections are coming. One thing you have to agree is, I know maybe he may not want to even conduct those by-elections. But the fact that this Kipchumba Murkomen is being nominated to the cabinet, Adan Duale, Kipchumba Murkomen was a senator, Kipchumba Murkomen was a senator, Duale was an MP, and Alice Wahome, MP. I think those are the three that have been plucked from the both two houses. Of course, there are by-elections that are expected in their respective areas. So this aspect, their by-elections need to be managed because the president will not want a situation where the first by-election that is conducted as a president, he loses. He would not want that. And one of the things to manage is to make sure that you get briefs from intelligence, what exactly is in the ground, what is happening, and from that, you can make the commission to make informed decision on whether to conduct those elections, on whether you can win or may not win, or to wait for some time. And it's easy creating hurdles here and there. So those by-elections is something that is worrying. And there could be, number one, that they will be there. But then, President will still also want the commission to conduct those by-elections faster, or to fast-track those by-elections. By Chebukati still remaining there, he will still take charge of those by-elections. And nothing stops him from calling the by-elections in December or even early January. So it is both sides. And that is why I can tell you that I don't think Chebukati is going to leave that commission. No. Still not yet. And as that goes on, there have been another parallel push to humiliate and push out the other 4 breakaway commissioners. The petition that is going on at National Assembly is paralleled by another internal disciplinary process at the commission. And because of internal disciplinary process may need quorum when people go to plenary sessions. And when the commission is these other 3 people leave, if they leave before, then that process will stall. And that's what Chebukati will not want. And he will want that before he leaves, he deals with the other 4. Yeah, I'm not speaking things that do not exist. In Mombasa, they were really lectured. The 4 commissioners, the Cherera camp, were really lectured on their conduct of the last general elections. So this would be, you still keeping stock of how to humiliate the other. Now he has nothing to lose. He's going home with his package. Pointive. He's just going home with the packs. So he will still be hanging to deal with the other 3. But I see this. Continued presence of Wafula Chebukati there, and even what that tweet is supposed to trigger, is just trying to chokoza the opposition wing, the Azimio wing. And the more Azimio will get engaged in this, that's one of the reasons why even William Ruto started that process. He had a very clear intention of making sure that Azimio are coming into the fold and they start talking and they start poking holes into this. And when the opposition is now talking about what government is doing, it actually diverts the attention. It diverts the attention of the country from the real issues. Because now, it's very true that some of those things that were promised are not there, and the hustlers are impatient. So you need to find things so that as maybe you will be available for your interview is 100 first 100 days into office. You will still have the blame games of, we've been doing that, we've been doing this, we've been doing this. So I see that as still the presence of Wafula Chebukati is just to divert the attention and consume, to activate the opposition wing who are coming into space. And that's why maybe he's coming over to speak about his succession. I don't know whether he will still succeed. Do you believe that there needs to be some memory that the next office holder should be? My answer is no. There is a total mess, and that office needs sanity and total overhaul. So when a video file of Fula Chebukati handing over file to a video of him handing over file or something to the next person is not a welcome call to Kenyans, because Kenyans see that that might be another version of Wafula Chebukati, and that's my bond.